The arrest warrant was put in the system, which means that anybody who was a peace officer in the United States could have arrested him. So we just made sure that we were there to make sure that he didn't get picked up by federal marshals or wherever he was, or by, I don't know, driving home and being picked up by Hayward police or whatever the permutations that you could come up with.
Are you alleging that Stockton Unified After School Program funds are among the items that may have been stolen?
If you remember that money laundering chart, when the National Boys and Girls Club gives over a certain money, they don't mark the dollar bills with special ink so you can follow that particular dollar bills around. That's the insidious nature of money laundering. It all gets put in one big pot. But the flow of money on a legal basis would come from the Boys and Girls Club, the National, because they were second in time. That was the double billing. The money that they received, the Boys and Girls Club, from the Stockton Unified School District, that was appropriate. They were being paid the appropriate amount. But then it was commingled with ill-gotten funds. And then some of those funds went into Mr. Silva's personal account. The ability to be able to say that Unified School District funds ended up into Mr. Silva's account is impossible. That's the concept of money laundering. You can't follow digital money, especially when it gets mixed up in a big pile. And so I can't say that, but I can't rule it out either.
Should somebody should have been able to watch this, oversee this as far as what Silva did? I mean, pretty much had total control.
Who's they?
The treasurers, other board members, things like this.
Well, I'm not willing to get into what happened in the grand jury, because right now it's unsealed. I mean, it's not been released, and so I'm gonna have to wait the 10 days to say it. I think if you go back in your other reporting, you can figure it out.
Silva's attorneys say, why was he arrested once he left the country? Was he able to be arrested before then, or did that have anything to do with it?
Yeah, I'm looking at the date on the arrest warrant. It's the day he left. I mean, it's right there. The date is right there. And I'm not quite sure. I mean, I don't know if everybody here was able to decipher his Facebook to say exactly where he was, when he was leaving, when he decided to go, when he decided to go back. I mean, I'm impressed by Mr. Sawyer being able to do that by looking at a screen capture of a map with a plane flying from one general area to another general area. That to me is not an itinerary, so I'm not quite sure what he's complaining about. The judge
you seem to be implying that
the
timing was not coincidental. Can you be plain about what your interpretation is?
Yeah, I don't believe a word Mr. Sawyer said in there. And he doesn't have any evidence that it wasn't coincidental. In fact, I would have rather had him in custody at the time that we served the search warrants. He was out of town. We didn't have the itinerary. He didn't let us know what was going on. When we serve an arrest warrant, we arrest the person. That's how it's done. I'm not quite sure why this is such a mystery to anybody. An arrest warrant means you get arrested. And that's law enforcement go and put handcuffs on you and bring you in. That's how it works. I don't think it works anywhere else any differently in the United States of America.
Is any of this related to when he was returning from China a couple of years ago?
No.
Sir, the $675,000 that you mentioned that flowed into Silva's account, was that the total amount?
I don't think I said that. 74, about 75,000.
Between what time
Cash.
and what time?
That's cash that flowed into his account, money that we cannot say where it came from. I'm only saying that there were fundraisers done, that his money comes from private accounts, either private checks, donations, or comes from cash from fundraisers. I can't tell you where cash came from, and we can't say it, but $75,000 went into his account, approximately.
Were there any seemingly unrelated things that happened in Stockton last week that sped up the process at all, the timetable for moving on this? Destruction of evidence, fire anywhere?
What sped it up was the grand jury came down with an indictment.
Any chance for recovery or a secret stash of some sort or what?
There's always a chance, Rich. That'd be too speculative for me to say.
So Silva had said that he had emailed the DA about him coming back. Is that true?
But that would be highly unusual. He has an attorney, so we have no record of that. If he did, I don't know where it went. I don't know if it went to our Facebook account or went to somebody else or somebody or to whomever. But he had an attorney, and the attorney was in contact with us. So it'd be very odd that a individual would directly make that statement. So if he could produce it, that'd be great. But we can't find it.
Can you reiterate your flight risk possibility and the reason why the bail's so high and why the judge?
That's not the only reason the bail's so high. The bail's high because it starts at $660,000. It starts there. That's the bail schedule. Without knowing who Anthony Silva was or any of the facts, that's the bail schedule. It's 5 or 6 pages. You can look it online, and it'll give you the information there. And what really kicks it up are those enhancements or the amount of money involved. So, for example, if I steal $1 million under these statutes, my bail is going to be $1 million, right? And so, plus the $10,000 for the actual, $10,000 for the actual charge. So we just added it up. So then we only added $300,000. So, but at the time that we asked for it, he was a flight risk. Guess what happened? He left the country.
You said that the investigation could conceivably expand into associates of Silva.
Sure.
Can you expand on that at all?
Other than the investigation expanding, no. Follow the evidence. That's what we do. We're not looking to go to get somebody. We're just following the evidence. If it leads someplace, that's where we'll end up. If it doesn't lead any place, we won't end up there.